All right. I want you all to do me a favor. I'm going to put something on the screen. I want you to look at it, but do not read it. Anybody able to do that? Is anybody able to look at that screen and not read what is on the screen? Yeah, exactly. It's kind of hard not to read words when they're in front of you. You ever realize that? Every single place you go, once you learn how to read, you can't stop reading. You will never be able to look at words without reading those words ever again. Now, there was a time when each and every one of you didn't know the alphabet, and this would have just been shapes to you. You can't look at this anymore as just shapes, can you? It is impossible to divorce this from the meaning of the words and the letters themselves. You don't have a choice anymore. You read all the time, so words are words to you. Now, if I were to change it to this, I imagine most of you can see this as shapes, right? If I were to say, don't read this. Now, I, however, spent 3 years learning biblical Hebrew, and I can't look at this without reading it. I cannot just see the shapes anymore. I see al tikra ze, which means don't read this in biblical Hebrew. But because I spent all of that time learning how to read those and training my brain to notice them as letters, I can't not see them in that way anymore. So I want to do one more example with you. What does this say to you? Anything? What's that? An echocardiogram. Ooh. This is a man who's been to a lot of cardiologists.
I'm thinking it's more likely to be a vocal pattern or something spoken that's translated into sound waves.
It is sound waves. What makes you think it's a vocal?
Just because it's fairly ups and downs consistent. For example, like a bird song pattern doesn't usually look like that because they tend to be more.
Thank you, Keela.
Oh, tell us more. That's so cool. It's probably someone saying, "Don't read this."
Oh, I should have done that. It's not. It is a vocal. It is voice, and you can tell because if it was an instrument, it would be consistent across the board. The fact that there's all of these kind of the volume is how high it is, and the fact that it's so inconsistent tells me that this is a person who is stammering through their words, somebody who is unsure of themselves, somebody who is kind of all over the place. I also see a lot of ums in here. Does anybody else see any ums? Because I'll tell you, I edit podcast audio hours and hours and hours every week, and I am on the lookout for ums all the time, and I have gotten to the point where I don't need to hear them. I can see them coming. Here, let me show you all of the ums in this, all of the red marks. You can tell because when a person is talking, normally their voice goes kind of up and then it stops. If you're saying, it goes top and then it goes down. Right? So you can tell that this one goes down. That's an this one, down. That's an And I was looking at this first, actually, and I was like, that's an right there. That's definitely an And then it wasn't. It was, and... So it was a vocal stammer, but it wasn't an This audio, this was a 45-minute interview that I cut down to 36 minutes from just cutting like a second of an all the time. This is a person who said so many times. It took me like 3 hours to edit. But I didn't used to look at audio this way. I didn't used to be able to see ums in a waveform, but now I can't not see it anymore. It's like when I used to work at a thrift store and I spent all day long fixing askew hangers. I couldn't go to Target anymore without seeing hangers all over the place. Right? Now, I haven't worked in retail for, I don't know, a very long time. And I don't see hangers anymore. I noticed this the other day when I was writing this, that I go to stores now and I don't even notice when the hangers are wrong. Because I'm not seeing it all the time at work, and so I'm not seeing it all the time in the rest of my life when I'm not paying attention to it. What about you? What do you see everywhere that most folks don't? Or hear that most folks don't? Oh, I know, because last week in the park, we were mid-conversation. You were talking about something, and then you were like, red-breasted warbler. Anyway, so... I don't...
I see colors and stuff like that, textures, things
Ooh.
that a lot of people would probably dismiss, patterns that repeat, anything that has a visual. I know. It was intense over there for going this.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, and that's my training.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably Annie, we will both have the same kinds of things.
Luke, when you walk into someone's house, do you notice unfinished projects?
Or ask about their flooring. I know that way that last part isn't true.
Call me out, Zack. At this point in my life, at the age of 83, and things have been changing a lot, there could be something right in front of me, and I don't see it. I'm looking all over the place. Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
I don't know how that fits in, but I just figure I'd ask.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I notice awkward people. People
When she's not waving her hand.
I like, you know, like in social, like that book when you're in a cafeteria and you're like, they're kind of like deer in the headlights, like, crap, where am I gonna sit? Like, I see that person every time. And people who just look really uncomfortable in their skin.
That's because you live with an awkward person, and so you're used to seeing it all the time. Is that why? Because you live with an awkward person, uncomfortable in their skin. That's why you see it. Oh, you.
Yes, I also look
Well,
I see
animals. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I see little things that are off, because I do quality assurance, so I'm looking for problems, and I see problems that other people don't see.
And you're in government. I see you constantly when we're out on High Street, and you're like, no, I need to remember to tell that one about that one. That sidewalk's broken. I've seen it. I've seen it, and I know it. So that sort of conversations that I've had with each and every one of you at some point or another inspired me to start reading this book called On Looking, 11 Walks with Expert Eyes by Alexandra Horowitz. And what she is doing in this is kind of a social experiment. She lives in New York City, and she does a walk around the block by her house, and she writes down everything that she sees. And it's this beautiful little essay about all the little things she sees. And then she does a similar walk, though not around her block every time, with 11 different experts in different things, and writes down what they see. And when I say experts, I mean things like geologists or somebody who works with typology, also her toddler and a dog. And each and every time she walks around these streets of New York City, she sees it as if it were a new city. And then after the person is gone, she's like, I can't stop seeing this now. Now I notice all of the couches on the side of the street. Now I notice that the spacing in between the letters on this sign is off on every single billboard, and I cannot stop seeing it everywhere. Because what you give your attention to gives attention back to you. And as Pastor Nicole said, for the past 6 months, during all of these different church seasons, we've been told what to notice. We've been told what to look for. We've got the anticipation of Advent, the joy and new life of Christmas, the gratitude of Epiphany, the introspection of Lent, the new life of Easter, and the power of Pentecost. And now, here we are in ordinary time. I always name my sermons, but I never tell you what the names are until afterwards. But this one made me laugh so much. An introduction to ordinary. As if we need to be introduced to the ordinary. Well, so for the next 6 months or so of this year, it will be up to us to figure out what we're looking at and what we're focusing on in church, in our lives, in all of that. Summer's a time when the schedules don't exist anymore and we're kind of all off on our own. But this may be an unstructured time, but the things that you pay attention to are not random. We will see what we are accustomed to looking for. As Paul wrote in our reading today, you will reap what you sow. When I spent all day fixing hangers, I saw messy hangers everywhere. If I spend all my time reading the comment section on Pottstown Facebook groups, I will see idiots everywhere. Your poor brain only has so much bandwidth, and it rejects like 98% of what it sees. And what it chooses instead to bring to your attention is what it thinks that you want attention paid to. The things that you are already looking at regularly, the things you are training your brain to see are the things that it will present to you afterwards. And I'm serious about that comment section thing because Nicole told me she saw a post about how this group of people had put a food pantry in Tent City. And my first thought was, ooh, I'll bet you that's a spicy comment section. It wasn't. Wow, there's a group of people out there who are doing these kind of out there deviant acts of kindness and service to people. Wow, I live in this wonderful borough where people are spending their time and money to care for people who can't possibly pay them back. Wow, I should get involved with these people. No, my first thought was, oh, there's probably some ignorant people right now saying some real rough things I got to go see. Yeah. Because I am so used to wasting my time doom scrolling and getting mad at people on the internet that my brain ignored the good and got ready to be miserable. I think probably at the heart of that one, by the way, is this like need to feel righteous. And so if I can find people who seem unkind, then I myself can feel better about myself. And I don't even have to go serve the poor in Tent City. I don't even have to do anything as long as I can feel better about myself because at least I'm not that jerk on the internet. It's kind of like the refined white sugar of goodness. But do not be deceived, friends. You will reap what you sow. If you sow only seeds of righteous indignation, your garden will produce thorny plants that will cut up your hands every time you try to harvest. And the fruit might make you feel righteous, but you'll be miserable. And likewise, if you sow only seeds of instant gratification and pleasure, then you will harvest delicious fruits full of empty calories that will make you sick. So what kinds of seeds should we be planting? How should we be focusing our attention now so that in these ordinary days our souls can be filled? Well, honestly, I think that the wisdom has less to do with the types of seeds and more how we sow them. The wisdom can be found in the growing things all around us. Nature hates a monoculture. Nature cannot abide a patch of earth where only one thing grows. Anybody who has had a lawn that they are trying to keep one type of grass understands how much work it is to fight against nature. Nature wants to fill your grass with all kinds of other things. It does not want to have one type of thing on there. The earth knows that abundant life comes from balance instead. That the clover houses microbes that add nitrogen to the soil, and that nitrogen makes the grass grow thicker and the roots grow deeper, which means that they're able to hold more water in the soil so that the clover can survive during the hot months of the summer. And even the dreaded dandelion, with its impossibly deep and impossible to get rid of taproot, is able to draw up calcium from deep underground that the grass can't get to, and then share that with its neighbors around it. You will harvest a rich and abundant spiritual garden when you plant a diverse and beneficial assortment of seeds. I mean, yes, you absolutely must devote time to hearing other people's stories, to understanding other people's injustices, and doing your part to bear each other's burdens. But you also must be tempered by times of joy, times of fun. And you cannot feel guilty about those times of joy and fun, or it ruins the whole thing. You must devote yourselves to times of regular prayer, of spiritual introspection, of scripture, of depth. But thoughts and prayers will wither on the vine if they are not also joined together with action and work. Each good seed must be given its space to grow. And we cannot let one plant take over the garden as some plants do if left unchecked. Like, I'm thinking, if you are relaxing on the beach, giving your body some time to heal, but you're scrolling through ignorant Facebook comments while you're doing it, you are not tending your garden equally, and you will not reap a good harvest in time. It is through this balance of spirit and body, of outward service and inward self-care, of research as well as restraint, that we will find wholeness. This is how we will not grow weary of doing good, as Paul writes. And so I wonder if you feel comfortable with a couple of minutes that we have. Could we just take a few minutes and think about the things that are growing in our little soul gardens? What have we been planting, and what have we been attending to? What would we like to harvest? Or, to mix the metaphors back up if it's more helpful, what are we seeing around us, and what are we looking for? I wonder if maybe we might be able to support each other in these ways.